Alright guys, I am at home right now, so this is a little bit of a wonky setup. My cat's around, you're going to hear her because it's getting late and she wants food because she's fatty. Maybe you'll see her at some point. In front of you, I want you to have your highlighters and your periodic table and a calculator, preferably a real calculator and not your phone. You can go up to the front and grab some if you need. Please make sure you bring it back. So, the first thing I would like you guys to do is go ahead and just pause the video and fill in these 4 questions right at the top, but please remember to never round your molecular weights. So if it has 2 decimal places on your periodic table, then you should have two decimal places in your answer here. In my case, mine had 3 decimal places. So this is what I got. Make sure that you always include your units here, AMU, because molecular weights are in AMU, and your molar masses should be in grams per mole. So the only difference down here is that the unit is different because we were talking about a larger quantity of molecules here. Okay, I'm going to be using 2 different colors. I'm going to be using, I'll actually be using 3 eventually, but I'll start with yellow, orange, and pink. We're going to do moles in orange, and grams or molar mass is going to be in whatever color I can find. So orange for that, and we'll see if yellow works out. Yeah, yellow's fine. And yellow for the grams. So we've already talked about the fact that we know how to calculate molar mass. But what we haven't done is we haven't used it as a conversion factor yet. So before I even show you the conversion factor, let's pause and think about, not like pause the video, but like let's think about what a conversion factor actually is. If I am going to convert between minutes and hours, I need this conversion factor here for minutes and hours. Notice that it is one thing on top of another thing, and this in the box has to be a true statement. If we have 2 units on top of each other that are not equivalent, then it's not a conversion factor and we can't use it. Everything in this box, in this column, has to be a true statement. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Now, if I were going to convert from a big number, hours, into a smaller unit, minutes, I would just be flipping my conversion factor upside down, like so. If I start with hours and I want to go to minutes, I'm going to put hours on bottom and minutes on top. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with your molar masses. Because we are comparing grams and moles in this unit, we can use it as a conversion factor itself. Now, we always have the number 1 with moles. It's just a 1. It's always 1 mole until we get to next week. Next week we'll change that up. But 1 mole is equal to whatever the molar mass is. Whatever you calculated up here, which is in grams. Grams per mole. G over MOL. That's how we got that unit. So our moles are in orange. Our grams are in yellow. Now I could flip this conversion factor and I could have 1 mole on top and I could have the molar mass on bottom. That way I can go both directions using my conversion factor. Okay, let's do a couple of problems. So every time I come across a problem, I'm going to highlight the units that I have. So we have 1.3 moles of HCl, and we are trying to find how many grams that is. So I'm going to start with my number given, 1.3 moles, and I always like to write the unit as well, 1.3 moles of HCl. Now, I am trying to go from moles to grams. So I need to look at my conversion factor and see which one I need to use. Remember that when you're doing dimensional analysis, when I'm trying to cancel out a unit, I need that unit on bottom again. So we're going to use this conversion factor here, and I'm going to put 1 mole of HCl on bottom, and then I'm going to use the molar mass of HCl on top. You calculated this number already. It's right here, 36.458. So we're going to use that. Moles on bottom, grams on top. Now, when you plug this into your calculator, you're just multiplying fractions here. Each one of the columns is a fraction. So once you plug that into your calculator, go ahead and do that. You should get 47.3954. Now I'm going to round this. There's two ways to round it. There's the correct way and then there's the acceptable kind of okay way. The correct way is based off of sig figs, which we learned about during Unit 1. Take a look over at the fish tank. I guess it's on that side of the room, or that side of the room? Unsure. Take a look at the fish tank and the poster on the wall, the black poster with the, I think it's green and blue coloring on it. Those are the rules for sig figs. If you want to know how I'm going to round everything on the answer keys, that's where to look. If you don't feel like doing that, then we're going to follow kind of the make your answer look similar to the numbers that were given rule, which in this case, there's 2 digits here, so I'm going to round this to 2 digits, my answer. 47 grams of HCl. Okay, go ahead and do this problem here. Pause the video. I want you to highlight each of the units that you're going to be using and then set up your problem and answer the question. So pause. So we are measuring out 40 grams and we want to know if that 40 grams is more, less, or equal to 1 mole, and we need to justify that answer with however many moles it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the calculation first to make my life easier. 40.0 grams of NaCl. Now when I'm converting for NaCl, I'm converting from grams into moles. I want my grams on bottom. Oop. So that that unit cancels, and I'm going to keep the 1 mole on top. Now I'm looking on our page and I do not see a calculation for the molar mass of NaCl, so I need to do that off on the side. So we have Na is 22.99, I only have 1 of them. Cl is 35.45, I only have 1 of those. So I'm going to add those together and we should get 58.44 grams per mole. So this is my molar mass that I'm going to use right here. And then you can solve for your answer. I have 3 sig figs here, so I'm going to have 3 sig figs in my answer. So I'm going to round this to 0.684 moles of NaCl. I'm going to put a box around my answer. Okay, go ahead and pause the video to do this problem. Make sure that you watch out that you are doing the correct molar mass for this formula right here. Your answer should have been 6.8 grams of CuBr2. Your molar mass should have been 223.35 grams of CuBr2 is equal to 1 mole. I'm going to round this according to sig figs, which would get you 0.030 moles of CuBr2. If you did this on your own, you might have ended up with 0.03, which would still be an acceptable answer, though it's not correctly rounded to sig figs. Alright, we're going to pause this video, or we're going to stop this video, and then I'm going to start video number 2, which is for the backside.